Welcome to the Bastrop Podcast. Real people, real stories, all from right here in Bastrop, Texas. I'm your host, Matt Walker, a local business owner, realtor, and entrepreneur with Wisdom House Realty Group and Bastrop Drone and Media Company. We sit down with the locals, shaping our community, from the mayor's office to Main Street shops, and bring you the voices behind the town we call home. Alrighty, I am sitting down with Mayor Ishmael Harris. Ishmael, how are you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming on the Bastrop Podcast again.
Yes, I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me. I appreciate
100%.
it.
All right, let's dive in. So you were on our show when you were running for mayor.
Yes.
Now you're in the seat. What has surprised you the most about being mayor compared to campaigning?
Campaigning, I had a lot of ideas and thoughts and policies maybe I wanted to implement, changes I wanted to see, really speaking on my vision for Bastrop. And so being now that I'm the mayor, being able to see some of those visions come to pass. Also, just learning a little bit more about the process, finding out more about what we're doing in the community, and implementing that vision and working with council in a more steady capacity, right? Prior to that, I worked with them through P&Z and just whatever relationships that I have, but now it's a little bit deeper than that, being the mayor.
So what motivated you to step into leadership when you first decided to run, and how has that motivation evolved now that you're in office?
Well, what motivated me was I saw there was a change that needed to happen in the leadership. There was a little bit too much division between council members and between council and city citizens. I felt that we weren't getting work done because there was so much contention on the dais, and really wanted to see progress happen for Bastrop. Being on the planning and zoning at that time, I knew the work that needed to be done, things we were trying to get implemented, and so wanted to make that difference, right? And being able to help out the people of Bastrop. We had a lot of change coming in, and I felt that me being a native and my roots so deep in Bastrop, that I needed to be in there to help guide that and make sure, above all, that we preserve our history. Right now, I think we're doing a great job of that. We've really focused on protecting downtown, kind of extended the boundaries of that. And we're also doing an excellent job in getting us ready and prepared for the future. We don't have arguments and fights on the dais anymore. We can sit up there and, as we're making decisions, have disagreements, but still continue to move on and leave it all there. Everything personal is outside of the door before we come in. And to put it as one person I saw on social media say, city council meetings are boring, that kind of was the point, right? Not boring and want to bore you, but we don't want the excitement of you coming in and watch a soap opera, right? So we've been able to really make some progress, have really, really good dialogue with citizens when they come in. Those are some great things that has happened.
Yeah, there's this podcast that I'll listen to occasionally, and their phrase that they'll use a lot is disagree without being disagreeable.
Yes, so that's perfect. Yeah. We don't have to agree, but we're all here for one goal, and that's for the betterment of Bastrop and the people of Bastrop. And of course, not going to see eye to eye on everything, but we just have to know that we're trying to achieve the same goal. And it's okay to not have the same opinions.
Exactly. Yeah. What's one thing you feel genuinely proud of from your first stretch in the office, and one thing that's harder than you expected?
What I'm proud of is the unity. Still working on it. My motto, if you will, going into the campaign, and it's still the same, is bridging the gap. I think we've been pretty successful at doing that. I hear it quite a bit from the citizens, and just bringing that peace of mind, that ease, to where that they know when we're having council meetings, we're up there going to be taking care of business and progressing and looking out for the well-being of Bastrop. And seeing that happiness in the citizens, from the youth to the older generation, the veterans, just throughout. I'm getting a whole lot of positive reviews, if you will, and feedback. That's been great. As far as just what's been a little bit difficult, right? Just still continuing to work. I've only been in there since June, and I get asked all the time, is it like drinking from a fire hose? And sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not. It's a great council we have. We have a great team at City Hall. Just really trying to get a good balance of things. We have a lot going on, and I don't know if it's because I'm in here or we've been able to ease some things so we can get progress, but just making sure we're making the right decisions that work for everyone. And that's pretty hard because unfortunately you can't please everyone. You're not going to make everyone happy. Every decision that you make, people aren't going to always like, but just knowing that you have to be steady and firm in making those decisions, as long as you're making it truly for the best interest of the people of Bastrop, you're in a good place. But making those decisions aren't always easy.
You just mentioned that you stepped into the role midterm last June. Looking back over the past year, what have you learned about the leadership that you couldn't have known before taking office?
What have I learned? Well, it's been a lot, Matt. What my role actually consists of. I had an idea, just going through the proper chains and channels, right? Running things by the city manager. And part of the reason why I am kind of struggling to answer this is because, again, in my previous role, I did a lot to understand that role. So that question is kind of hard for me to answer because I've learned those understandings, right? And so I do get asked, is it hard? I really don't think it's that hard. If anything, is just the constant reminder that you're not going to be able to please everyone, right? So that's what makes the job hard, is that even as much as I want to try to make everyone happy, I know it's not going to happen. And making those tough decisions on what's going to really work for Bastrop, that is hard. And, being able to quiet the noise sometimes.
Yeah, and I imagine your time on P&Z, that definitely did help you to understand the structures a lot.
It did.
To then come in as the mayor and kind of work within all of that.
Yeah, to use the old adage, hit the ground running. That's what I really felt like. Matter of fact, I probably was already running. Bastrop is near and dear to me. I care about the community a lot. I care about the direction that we're going. And so in my previous role, I did a lot to ensure those things. And so it's just a different title, a little bit more responsibility, but it's the same mission.
So you've got deep roots in Bastrop. How has growing up here shaped the way you lead and make decisions in the community now?
Well, it shapes the way I lead just because we've had some great leaders in our community, right? From people in the church, people in the school, just local people who really cared. Bastrop has had a knack, at least growing up. If somebody sees some potential in you, they'll take you under your wing, or they drop little tidbits of information or advice to you, words of wisdom, if you will. And that has helped out a lot. Being that I'm fifth generation, a lot of people know my family. I come from a pretty respected and respectable family. And so because of that, I think it also allowed people to pour into my life. That's been a big help, right? And it's allowed me to learn how to lead. And I tend to be a pretty watchful person. Again, to go back, I care about the community. So I pay attention to those who really care about it and how they're going to do things, how they go about. And so that has helped me in my leadership.
You've talked about it a little bit, but, Bastrop has strong opinions and passionate residents.
Yes.
So when perspectives are divided, how do you approach listening, building trust, and leading through the tension or uncertainty in the community?
Well, definitely being an open ear, taking in both perspectives, being clear and level-headed and honest about things, being a person of integrity. People are going to have their opinions. A lot of times when you have an opinion, maybe you don't have all the information. So being able to hear them out and speak with a calm resolve and give them that information. And if it's something that I don't have, knowing that it's okay to say, I don't know, but I'll be able to get back with you. And doing that, just letting people know that we're going to work on things to make stuff better here in Bastrop. It really helps. But it's a passionate community. People really, really care about this place. And oftentimes you'll hear people say, I care about it more than you, and I care about it more than you. And I totally understand that. But there is a thing, too, where there are people who've been here 10 years. And there are people who've been here 50 years. With no disrespect intended to those people who are here, been here 10 years. You're not going to convince a person who's been here 50 years that you care about this place more than them because you haven't had that experience and that love. You came in and you loved the place, right? But there's a difference. There's a little bit more time and history. But being able to get people to see those perspectives, I think is what helps with that.
So with that, Bastrop is growing quickly. People hear the phrase smart growth a lot. What does that actually mean for the average resident, and how do we grow while keeping the small town character people love?
Smart growth, in a lot of ways, it starts with definitely considering the people who've been here for a while. I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous podcast with you, but, I think one of the great things about right now, and even me being in this role, is because I was here at times when the citizens weren't listened to. We're just going to do whatever works, and we're going to grow this place, or we're not going to grow this place, and not really taking into considerations what the people are really wanting. So smart growth starts with those people who've been overlooked, right? And really making sure that we're building to preserve what they've already had and built and loved. And also adapting to what's incoming. I know a lot of people aren't thrilled about the growth, but Bastrop's a beautiful place. It's a lovely place. It's comfortable. It takes you back home, right? Even if you didn't have that atmosphere, you can relate to it. And so we have to be able to adjust to that as we grow. Smart growth not only is consistent in the way we develop, but it's also for the people, right? You got to grow the people in a smart way as well. I think when people hear smart growth, they think about the development, the housing, the jobs, which are all super important, right? But the other smart growth is how are we going to grow the youth, right? I don't know if you follow me a lot, if you heard, but the youth are big. The children are our future, right? Not to be cliche, but that is factual. And so how are we going to grow them in a smart way to where they're going to be outstanding citizens? They want to be a part of our community when they become older. They don't want to just up and leave, right? Those things are important, right? It's crucial how we do that to shape Bastrop, because if we don't, then it's going to change and we're not going to look the same, and we're going to lose that small town feel, that community touch that we have. And again, with the amount of growth, we have to strategically plan for what we're going to keep here and have here and bring here. And when I say bring, I don't want anyone to be confused and think that the city of Bastrop just brings everything in, because that's not how it works. But we have to be smart in understanding that we have growth coming. We have a lot of people moving here. We have to get the right things here, be it entertainment, jobs, development, retail, whatever it is, to sustain and keep the people happy here, right? Because what we don't want to happen is a lot of people move here. We don't grow this place the right way, and then everybody jumps ship. And then now we have all these things here and no one to go and do anything with them.
Yeah, it's very interesting and to me cool watching the growth happen.
Mm-hmm.
Being here as it's being built out. I mean, you look at everything in and around Sendero and all of that that's coming. You have tons of different job opportunities that ideally will allow the children and the kids, and as they grow up, to have places here to then employ them and have them kind of stick around while being involved in all that Bastrop has to offer that entire time.
Yeah,
so.
Man, one of my main goals is to have Bastrop be a self-sustaining community, meaning that we grow and supply from within, and we're able to keep them here, and then they're able to thrive. And I say that with the kids and the youth or the families that move here, to where we can provide whatever you need here in Bastrop. You don't have to go into Austin. You don't have to go to other cities, right? It is right here for what you need. And at the end of the day, that's the smartest growth that we can have, because the more that we can put into our community, the more that we get back.
And I think that can be the case where we're at right now. And I'm looking forward to that continuing to expand out. I remember living on the east side of Austin, and it's like, all right, we're making the trek into the city to go get the stuff because it wasn't local. But living in Bastrop, I don't need to go anywhere.
Right.
It's got everything that we need here already, and it's continuing to have that built out. So I'm looking forward to that vision.
Exactly.
Growth brings pressure on roads, utilities, and long-term planning. What infrastructure or mobility projects are already in motion that residents may not realize are helping? And what's next on your priority list?
We're making street repairs, some long overdue ones. We're working with the county, Precinct 1, to help with a little bit of that road repair. So some of the things are in downtown, like Water Street, which some like to refer as Bumpity Bump Road, because it is very bumpy and it's long overdue, but we're going to get that taken care of. It's got some pipe bursting that we have to do before that happens. There's just some streets on the north end of town that's been overlooked that are going to be taken care of. We're still working on the Blakey extension, on how we're going to do that. We're going to have to work on connecting that to Old Austin Highway. And again, we're in talks of how we're going to be able to do that, just to alleviate some of that traffic. Because there's a lot going from on that access road right there off of Old Austin Highway, and then going over to the Burleson Crossing Business Complex, and then even going to Sendero, and then the size of the Colony, and then Valverde's coming up over there, right? And so that's a lot of traffic. So we're really looking at ways to offset that. One of the biggest things is Adelton, but you have that subdivision, which is actually growing, right? And a big connecting point to that is Shallow Road, which will go through Shallow, which will put you on 304. And then you have Agnes, which is big, right? Agnes is running from Walmart to 304. And that's been a huge thing for people because, again, you have Adelton, right? And so what it allows for people to do is go down Agnes and then cut through Shallow Road and go, and not have to worry about going and looping up on the highway. We have that. We're working on finalizing things to add more to our wastewater treatment plant. They had built it to what they figured it would be for size, but by the time everything was done, we were already undersized, so we needed to add more for capacity. So we're really working on that. We've made connections from the businesses on 969 to tie into our treatment, so we get the revenue from that. Those are some of the bigger things that we're working on as far as infrastructure-wise.
That's cool. I think probably the one that I'm going to be most excited for is that Blakey to Old Austin connection.
Yes, that is going to be super exciting, and I can't wait to see it unfold, right? We're looking at some concepts of how to finalize it, but hopefully we come to something soon and things will work out. Just in conversation with those business owners that are right there on their corner, I want to make sure things are good with them, and then as well as the neighborhood, because it's going to somewhat run along Riverside Grove, the middle school's right there, but it's something that's much needed. If you're ever on Old Austin Highway between, I think school lets out about 4 o'clock, right? Like for the next 45 minutes, it is a jam. You have 2 middle schools right there now, so it's definitely a much-needed alleviation.
Mm-hmm. So what's something about city governance that residents would be surprised to learn, especially when it comes to how long planning or major projects really take?
So I was going to say the process, but that's the latter part. So, that is what is surprising. And also that it takes planning. It takes data collection. We might have to do feasibility studies, community input. All of those things take time. And then once, things are established and talked about, whether you have contracts, you have bids, you have equipment, just whatever products, materials that you might need to have come in for those projects. But, nothing happens overnight, and everything is costly. Right. And so making sure that planning out and making sure that it's the right fit for Bastrop and the location that we're getting it in is part of what takes it so long. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They think it just can happen overnight. I'm not going to say I think. I know because I see it all the time, is the confusion about what we can and cannot do as the city of Bastrop. We get requested all the time, the city needs to bring another HEB here. Well, that's not on us, right? That's HEB. The city needs to quit building houses. The city needs to quit doing this. Well, again, that's not on us. Right. We don't own all the land in Bastrop. And so what happens is that someone has some land, be it that it was in the family forever or they did buy it in hopes to sell it or whatever it is. Developers see that, they inquire, and then they buy it. The thing that we have to do is go make sure that we're on top of those people who are buying the land, seeing what they're trying to develop, having the meetings that start off with the planning and development department, and then working through the process of going through the planning and zoning, and then up through council to make the decisions. There are some other things that like the BEDC can assist with as far as maybe some type of recruitment for businesses or jobs to come in. But for the most part, it's a process that takes a little while because of so many steps. And if we're doing it the right way, it's going to take a little while because we want to make sure it's the best fit for Bastrop.
Do you find that the developers that are coming in, they're playing ball with y'all pretty well? Everybody's getting along?
For the most part, yeah. You have some that, we got to keep sitting at the table about. But for the most part, yeah. There was a time where it was a little difficult for development to happen. And, it was due to our old B3 code, which we've gone through and revamped, and we're calling it the Building Bastrop Code. And so that made things a little bit difficult. We make developers try to look at different ways to try to get around. But now meetings are going really great. We're setting a standard, as far as what we're wanting here in Bastrop and what we're trying to establish. If you want to come here and develop, that's fine, but it has to be the right kind of development. Has to fit our community, has to benefit our community. We don't want you coming here using our citizens and then taking off, right? We need you to be a part of the community and not just having the name there, but actual community involvement, something that we're stressing because you're now a part of Bastrop, just like every resident that has moved here. And so that means if you're going to develop something, come to the council meetings, hold a city or a town hall meeting. We'll help you out with that. Go to the neighborhoods and meet with the people, right? See what they want, see what they feel, and then work from there. I think genuinely when people are starting to do that, it helps with their development, right? It takes away as much pushback because now they're able to understand. And if nothing else, have an outlet to say what they need to say, and you can provide them with an answer. And a lot of developers will see that for the most part, things are good. It's just those ones who try to enforce their way and try to act like, we need them. We're long gone from the pick me city right? Like, come here, help us out. We're long gone from that. And it's more so we get to choose who we want to date. And I truly enjoy that.
Yeah, that's very cool to, like I said earlier, watch it all unfold.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's fantastic, man. It's fantastic. Yes, sir.
So the city has explored long-term initiatives like expanding healthcare access, recreational facilities, and economic development efforts. How do you decide which big ideas move forward and which need more study?
We look at the needs of the citizens. Just give an example of healthcare. Man, healthcare we could really use around here. That's big. Last year I spoke on it, and I continue to speak on it, the need for a regional hospital here in Bastrop. I personally feel that we have enough people in our population to be able to sustain and keep a fully functioning hospital functionable. I don't want to say it in the sense of like we have a whole lot of health scares or health concerns and people to be laid up in the hospital. But at the same time, we have enough people here in our area. And when I talk about our area and the regional aspect, we have Bastrop, right? You have LaGrange or Giddings. You have Thorndale. You have Thrall, that's a little north, right? You go down south of Flatonia, Cistern. You have Lockhart that can come here versus having to go to Austin. You can even go past LaGrange and Giddings. I see it all the time. People riding through here in an ambulance from Fayette County. You know how far Fayette County stretches, right? It makes no sense on why we shouldn't be able to have that to supply and take care of those people. As far as like recreation, that's huge for me, right? I'm participating in recreation my whole life. I love playing sports. I love coaching kids. I think that's big for our youth. I think that's just big in general, right? Sports can teach you a lot about being a person and teamwork and adversity and overcoming. We're in desperate need of a rec center. And I know people will talk about that all the time. It's nothing new. It's something that I'm adamant about trying to acquire. But I don't want to just get a rec center for the sake of having a rec center. I want a rec center when we get one that it works for everyone for generations to come. And it just with little tweaks and modifications, but something that caters to all the needs. And the unfortunate thing about that, though, is if, in order for us to get the one that we would like, or for what all the citizens are saying that they would like for sure, that thing is going to be super costly. And that would be something we'd have to take to the voters and truly see how that's going to work. But it's super important. And so as far as like prioritizing those things, first off, the healthcare is number one priority. One of the number ones, if not. With the amount of senior citizens that we have here in Bastrop, we have a lot of veterans here in Bastrop. We have a lot of families here in Bastrop now, right? And all of those people could use those services. And so it's more so about listening to what the citizens are saying. We can have our ideas and our thoughts because we see what the need is per se, but really listening to the voices of the people and hearing what they want. Is everything that they want going to be decided upon, or are we going to say yes to everything? Maybe not. Are we going to say no to everything? Probably not. But just because we initially say no, it's not going to work, doesn't mean that we're not thinking about it or not looking at ways. It's just maybe it's not going to happen right now. So we have to look at what's going to work for right now to really help us get to where we need to be in a successful community.
So you've spoken about the importance of community engagement. How do events like Juneteenth, homecoming, local festivals, youth sports, and volunteerism strengthen Bastrop's identity and bring residents together?
Having those events, it allows people to maybe see people they haven't seen in a while. Depending on the event, it brings in people who haven't been here for a while. We'll say homecoming. And for those who are listening that don't know, Bastrop has two homecomings, right? A regular football season, high school homecoming like everyone else does. But at the first weekend in August, we have our community homecoming. And that homecoming was established and started after World War II when all the veterans came home. That was the homecoming celebration. And so they've been celebrating it ever since. And so during that time, we have class reunions, right? So that brings everyone back in the town to see each other. When it comes to the Juneteenth, it's been a strong celebration for the Black community and even more outside of the Black community, right? But like really for them, and it like those who've had families here and grew up here, they come back. Over the last 3-4 years that the committee has done a great job in its celebration and bringing people back in with the Juneteenth festival, the street dance, the parade has grown. It's been a lot of things that really have just rebirthed the committee. And then, sports. It's a sports town, football town for sure, right? If you hadn't paid attention. We have the Little League sports that are here, and it just brings community. Those moments allow everyone to be able to say, hey, we're just like you, right? We're a neighbor, we're a friend, we're a family. And it's nothing like a good celebration bringing everyone together. I think that's important for Bastrop. It allows us to put those differences to the side because everyone celebrates those things. We recently, this year would have been our third year for Mardi Gras, but due to the weather, I had to change the plans. But even that event with that, it's grown tremendously. It's just something about the atmosphere and the people of Bastrop. We do like to get together and have a good time and fellowship. That's what's one of the things that's unique about us, right? To go back to earlier about everyone being passionate about the city and their beliefs and things, which they are. But during these moments, it allows for everyone to put those things to the side because you're going to know somebody that's involved with these events. And it's good to see them. And you're going to get invited and you're going to run into friends. And it gives us something to do. One of the events that we used to have was Yesterfest. And that celebrated the yesteryears of Bastrop, right? The pioneer days and things like that. And it really displayed the heritage. So having those events, they're crucial and beneficial. Just good fellowship and gathering is always good for a community. And if it's done right, it brings out more people. And that's just been one of the good things about Bastrop, right? We can get together for a good time.
Yeah, I think that's just one of the charms of Bastrop are all of those small town feeling events that, as you said, bring the community together.
Yeah, like the end of the year, the lighted Christmas parade, man, that really does something, right? I think this past year is probably 135, 140 entrants, and it was over 10,000 people that were here for that day. And that's a lot. Especially when our city limits population is around 15,000. So that's 85% of the people here, man, 90% of the people. So that's a big thing.
And we had the best float, right?
Yeah.
So when you look ahead 5 to 10 years from now, what excites you the most about Bastrop's future? And what are you working on now to help move the city in that direction?
And just to go back to earlier, I'm excited to see that we'll be a little bit closer to being that self-sustaining community. I truly believe that with people that want to come in and invest in our community and develop here. And again, development is not bad, right? It's something that's needed when you have a lot of people coming here. And 10 to 15 years, I see us being self-sustaining. I see us truly having trade schools, right? Having jobs that really allow people to have a comfortable life here in Bastrop. Last year, we had about 1.5 million people come visit the area. That's crazy, right? Just coming through, just knowing that, you have to know that even if it's 0.5% of that amount of people that have fallen in love with Bastrop, that's a lot, And so I want to be able to have a place where people can enjoy life, where they can go out and feel comfortable. They can move around without congestion, right? Where people are neighborly and look out for each other and are kind. One of the things you hear me say is do right by people, treat people right. And so creating a community where we have our youth that don't want to just up and jump ship and leave Bastrop. Right. Having that community to where people want to just be here and to be established and help us grow and be prosperous, and not just financially, right, but mentally and physically. Be a successful community. That's just really where I want to see. Nothing against Austin, but not be like Austin. Be separate, be our own identity, continue to be our own identity. In 10 to 20 years, I want us still to be able to maintain and have that small town charm. Hold on to that historic value that Bastrop has, because that's what makes us unique. And hopefully we're not a town that's been just kind of I think about locusts when they go through a field and demolish it, right? I don't want that to be us. And so it's a matter of preparing us to not be that when it comes to the people. So again, having that correct development that works for people and having affordable housing to where people can afford to live here and work here as well.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. So for the residents who care about Bastrop's future, what's the most effective way for them to stay involved and make their voices heard?
First and foremost, vote, right? Pay attention to when the elections are happening and vote. Make sure you're voting the right people in who care and concern, and vet those people. The other thing is, attend the meetings. If you have any questions, any concerns, attend the meetings. If you can't attend in person, you can always catch them online. City of Bastrop does a great job when they have their meetings of posting them on Facebook, so you can watch them live, and reach out to your city officials, your county officials, talk with them and see what's going on. I know at times, because it's the quote unquote government, people struggle with trusting the people and who they are. And if it's something to add to the previous question, to really eliminate that distrust, right? To where you trust that we're putting the right people in place, that we're doing the right things for people in Bastrop, that our leadership truly has the best interest for the people of Bastrop more than anything else. And so just reaching out, being involved. We have boards and commissions that people can volunteer for. There's lots of nonprofits that we work with that always can use volunteers. So just putting yourself out there and volunteering. I know people have their opinions about stuff, right? And maybe they're dissatisfied or don't like the way things are going. But you have just as many people, if not more, that are happy and satisfied. Just learning how to communicate, right? To be able to get yourself an answer or be involved is critical, right? And so just getting with some people and having, solid conversations and being workable.
So at the end of the day, why should residents feel confident in your leadership as Bastrop continues to grow and change? Not to beat the dead horse, and not any disrespect to anyone, but go back to earlier when I was saying about, someone here 10 years and then 50 years, right? I'm fifth generation. I'm raising sixth generation with my kids. Hopefully we'll have a seventh generation here in Bastrop. But I'm someone who's passionate and deeply loves this community. As I've said to people, I am the dirt that you walk on here in Bastrop. And I just say that because my family's been here since, as far as back I remember, 1863, right? So we go a long ways and have been involved in love and concern. But I personally think I've done a great job in helping turn the ship of where we're going in the direction of Bastrop. For those who were paying attention, which I think at one point in time, a lot of people were watching because there was so much division going on. If you watch now, that's not what's happening at City Hall. I want to say, like, after my second or third meeting, right, I looked around and all council members was just sitting there talking. There used to be a time where they quick to get out of the meeting. As soon as it's over, we're going to get out. And I'm, mad. But like that's been eliminated. And so that's one positive. That's a big deal, right, to me, at least, right, to where how we're going and conducting council meetings. I've had people tell me, man, we used to watch to see what was going on. Now I don't even really watch. And in a way, like, that's the goal, not watch for us to keep anything from you, right? But we want you to come to the council meeting if you don't have anything else to do. Or if you just want to kill some time, come see what we're doing. I want to build with council, a council that the citizens can trust. And I know, again, people are going to have their doubts. It's the government, right? But at the same time, I want to have it where they know that we're thinking about the well-being and the best for the people of Bastrop and Bastrop itself. And that's something I've been able to do. My involvement in the community, I take a lot of time to visit with the schools, the kids at the schools. I try to be a person that gets back in touch with folks relatively quickly, being transparent, push that a lot. There's no reason for us to hide anything. And so, just my love and concern for Bastrop. I've got a good vision. We're working on things in that aspect. And so just being able to collaborate with different people. We have some economic things going on. There's a group called Why Texas. They have an event coming up in March, and they're focused on economic development for Texas. And so just being able to develop a good relationship with the people who are doing that and being able to protect the people. I can't say everything, and in a sense, not like I'm hiding stuff, but like there has been some developers that have come in that I've had the fortune to be able to sit and talk with. And those people will tell you, like, he's got a protection barrier up for the people of Bastrop. And he sets the standard on how you're going to come in here and deal with the people. Again, to go back to what I was saying, you're not going to come here and take advantage of us. Like, I strongly feel that we are a community that if you look out for us, we're going to look out for you. But if you try to take advantage of us, well, it's not going to be good for you. You might still be able to make your sales or do your bill, but man, you're going to hear about it. And at the end of the day, I'm here to support and back the people of Bastrop, right? And do what's in the best interest of them. Again, some things that we decide upon, everyone's not going to like, right? But I'd like for people to think that, hey, the decision we make today may not be your favorite, but tomorrow it will.
right? Something will come along that we're going to be able to decide upon that's going to work for you. Everyone's not going to be able to get everything that they like. But if we can successfully get everyone just a little bit of something, hopefully everyone will have an understanding and we can move forward. But I am here for the best interests of the people of Bastrop. I care about it tremendously. My relationships with people in Bastrop expand generations before me and after me. And so, yeah, I'm here for them. I'm going to do what I can to visit. I spend time with the people at the nursing homes, the veterans. I want to be community engaged, and I am. And so, yeah, that's part of about me being a leader. I'm a great listener, and I'm solution driven. All right, I want to find the right solution that's going to work. Again, is it going to be the right one every time? Maybe not, but I'm going to give it all I have, the best that I have. And again, look out for the people of Bastrop. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough, because we're going to be Bastrop regardless if people come here or not. But with the amount of people that are coming here, we have to make some adjustments to what we're doing here and how we're moving forward.
Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to discuss? Just
would like to say, man, I'm truly grateful and thankful to everyone who voted me into office. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate you having the confidence in me. I thank everyone that I see throughout town that continue to give me words of encouragement. It really means a lot. If it was, if someone was to ask me what was my favorite part of this gig, right? What I enjoy most is seeing the smiles on people's faces. I've never had so many people tell me thank you in all my life. And that feels good, and it lets me know I've been doing some things right. Try to get with the schools as much as possible. They reach out to me, or I set up visits. One of my favorite things to do is to come across parents, and those parents are like, hey, you came by and visited my kid at school, and they remembered you said this, that, and the other, and it stuck with them. Man, that's like the greatest feeling in the world, because, us as adults, for the most part, we already have our mind made up, right? And sometimes it's hard to get people to look at things in a different perspective or change their mind on stuff. But man, if we can really mold our youth to think positively, to want to be successful, to want to invest in their community, to want to dig deeper to become something greater, that's only going to benefit and better our community in the long run. And so to be able to have that impact means the world to me. I go in a couple of times, and I'm going to continue on, but with the Beartex Robotics program, it's a great group of kids. And it's been really enjoyable watching those guys put their robots together and work with them, and gals. Just seeing the smiles on their faces is the greatest thing. This thing is not about me, right? I'm just a vessel here, serving a role, serving the people of Bastrop. That's what I'm here for. That's what I enjoy. And I truly enjoy seeing the smiles on people's face. I truly enjoy being a part of the change, right? And helping with that change. Because a little while there, it was a little concerning about what was going on and what we were going to do. We spend the time fighting and arguing. Well, we're going to get mulled over by progress, right? And so we got to be out here to be able to take care of business. Have to be able to understand that there's different types of people that are coming in here to Bastrop. And to those who are coming in, I'd like to say this as well. When it comes to Bastrop, it's like in your house, right? You don't want anybody coming in and tell you to rearrange your furniture. That doesn't work. But like, hey, if I come in and I see you got a blank spot on your wall or the corner, and I say, hey, man, you might want to throw a painting there or put a plant over there, right? Accessorize. That's what I'm for. Not changing who we are. Accessorizing. Helping us adapt a little bit, but not coming in to change who we are. And this is for developing or people who come to move into Bastrop. I see that a lot. And it's like, well, what did you fall in love with? You fell in love with this, but then you want to change it. Try to be flexible. We're trying to be flexible and trying to adapt and modify things, but also, again, preserving who we are. If my rules are take your shoes off when you come to my house, right? That's what I ask. That's what I expect. Respect that simple rule, and you can come on in. So that translates here, right? Like, just, hey, we're asking that you not try to change us in that aspect, but come in and respect this. And hey, man, we're going to be a great host for you. And as you can tell, with that amount of people and the people that's moved, the amount of people that's visited, like, people like it here. We just got to continue to be a welcoming community. And so I strongly believe that we'll do that, especially under the leadership that we have here now. And I can see it in the coming years. I'm in the filing period right now to get my 3-year term, and hopefully I'll get in there and then really see where we'll be at for 3 years.
So when is the election cycle next?
So filing ends February 13th Friday the 13th is the last day to file. And so the election is May 2nd. And can't remember when early voting is, but it's last 2 weeks of April. It's going to be early voting. So we have from now until then. So we'll see, if someone's going to put their name in or not, regardless of the fact. And like, I'm here for the people of Bastrop. I'm going to continue to be here for the people of Bastrop. A lot of people don't know, like, the mayor gig is not a retirement gig. You have to have a passion for the people. And that's what I do. I just want to see us be successful. I want to see us thrive as a community. And again, I want to see us be self-sustaining, where we stand out on our own, to where in 10 to 20 years, people are looking at, man, over in Bastrop, they really did it for their people. They really established themselves as far as a working community that works and grows from within and is thriving in this world. And their economy is out of this world, right? And everyone there is successful to an extent, right? The youth are able to find their own niche and pathway into whatever kind of careers that they want to have. And then they're able to give back into the community. People are out or don't have to outsource things. It's right here for them to be able to reach out to.
How would somebody reach out and contact you if they wanted to chat?
Well, you can always contact me at City Hall. You can call the front desk and they'll be able to contact you. You can call me at 512-718-5957. That is my mayor's cell phone. You can email me at iharris@cityofbastrop.org. That's my mayor's email. Don't hesitate. Reach out to me. I'll do everything I can to get back to you as quickly as possible. Sometimes my schedule gets a little busy and it's a few days, but I'll see the emails and I'll try to flag them so I can get back to them and prioritize them. But I try to be as responsive as possible. But yeah, you're more than welcome to reach out and call, leave me a voicemail or send me an email and let's talk.
Awesome. Well, Ishmael, I thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, man.
Just chatting and learning how you've gone in your role so far and looking forward to what the future brings.
Yeah, how much time do you have? I've got a couple questions for you.
All right, what you got for me?
How's things been for you in the last year here in Bastrop?
Bastrop, it's a great town. Obviously, the real estate market right now is rough with the higher interest rates that are starting to come down. And then there's a lot of development. There's a lot of new builds, a lot of homes on the market. But with that, there's still a lot of, obviously, growth happening here. There's a lot of people moving into Bastrop. So it's interesting. It's very cool to watch that continue to expand out. And I'm excited for the future to see as it continues to grow.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on the development, right? It is a lot of housing. And so I kind of wonder, like, how does that work with the realtors? And I think Bastrop's got several real estate groups here. In my mind, right, it's everyone should be able to eat.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. You look at COVID craziness, home prices skyrocketed, and then they hiked the interest rates to have the cooling effect on the market, which it did do. But you look at places out along DC area, you look at certain parts of California, and then we were even talking to some out-of-state realtors who are from one of the northern states, and it's all supply issues. There's no more building that can really be done on the East Coast. A lot of that stuff is built out already. Then same in California, where this couple was from. It's like Montana or somewhere that there's tons of land, but the taxes are set up in such a way that if you build more than 5 homes, like in a development, you're going to get taxed out the wazoo. And so it's not profitable for them to build out there. They basically frozen development out there. So even though we had this cooling effect that worked really well here, it was still a crazy market out in those other places, which is interesting. And so we've had a lot of raw land out here that is getting developed. You have a lot of people moving in this way, but it's still just a lot of people who were priced out either because of interest rate or because of the home prices. And the home prices have been going down. Builders are offering tons of incentives to try and capture some of that. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, no. And as far as like just people out of state, so I just learned, you learned it yourself, right? 1,500 people a day are moving here to Texas, which is, man, that is crazy. As big as Texas is, that's still
a lot of people.
500,000 people a year. Over 500,000 people a year moving here to Texas, right? That's a lot. So for those who are listening and watching, we're not telling them to come in, right? People are just coming, right? And we have to be able to adapt. I think the California, New York, Colorado, and Florida are the 4 states that send in the most people here to Texas, or more people come from those 4 states than any other state to come here and live. And I can only imagine how your area of expertise in the real estate is. And just with me, what we're having to do to capture that and encompass the right things for growth. How's it like raising a family here? Is it everything that you thought it would be? Like, I know there's things that we need here for families and kids, and we're steadily trying to get that. We've improved our parks, which is minor, but that's a free thing, right? But there's also activities that we need to get for more family activity places and stuff for the teens and youth. But how is it for you?
Yeah, and we have small kids, so we are 100% in the playground life. We've definitely made the rounds of all the playgrounds in and around Bastrop, and so that's always fun.
And there's improvements coming to those. Like, you just wait and see. There is a lot of improvements to the parks.
I'm looking forward to them, and I'm sure my kids are as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's great raising a family out here. We love Bastrop. We love the community. We love having our kids be able to just run around and have fun. So it's been great.
So do you see yourself continuing to live here and your kids graduating here, or?
100%. We have some family members who are over in Buda, and they're always like, would you guys ever move over? And it's like, no, A, we love Bastrop. B, we do have two of our businesses that are named after Bastrop. You know, the Bastrop Drone and Media Company, the Bastrop Podcast. We're pretty tied in.
Tied in, right?
Bastrop at this point.
I love that. You know, it's hard times, right, for people to adjust to the new incomers, but I think we're doing pretty great as far as adjusting to that. That was one of my biggest things as far as the bridging the gap is really with the older generation and the incoming crowd, you know, the originals and transplants, right? I've heard people refer to them as that, but just people who fell in love with Bastrop, right? And at times it's been hard, but I think for the most part, as this community moves forward, you know, those divisions are shrinking. I'm happy to hear that. And that's the thing, right? You want to be a welcoming community. You want to be a welcoming neighbor. Even if it's a visit, you don't want to be a jerk to people who are coming to visit you, right? And get a bad rep for not being hospitable.
We've mentioned this before, even in other episodes, but it's like you can definitely like come to Bastrop and not really interact with anybody and just kind of live your life if that's what you want to do. But if you want to get plugged in, everybody is super friendly and super welcoming. And that's the kind of community that's here that we really love.
And that's exactly what I love about it. And I'm going to fight to continue to have it that way.
100%. Any other questions?
No, man, that's it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Once again, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Bastrop Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us on Instagram at Bastrop Podcast and share it with a neighbor. We're here with new conversations from people who make Bastrop feel like home. Got someone you think we should interview? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you.